Okay, welcome everybody. We'll have about probably 15 minutes of getting warm, getting loose out there, and then we'll put it down, and it'll be a full scrimmage today. So a lot of different lineups, a lot of different situations, but you know, the whole thing will be live. We'll probably get somewhere in the neighborhood of about 100 plays in before the end of the day. Put guys in situations and see how they react. So it's our first full live scrimmage, and you guys are welcome to write what you want. I'll be anxious to see what you say. Any questions?
So what do you say? What have you seen? And you're anxious to see this afternoon?
Yeah, just competitive, you know, good competitive football. You know, I mean, our job is to get better individually as coaches and as players, and then try to get your respective units as good as you can, cohesiveness. You know, the overall goal is to put them in situations, see how they respond, and then at the end of the day, hopefully we maintain health. You know, knock on wood's been relatively healthy spring, and we've been getting a lot of good workout. So competitive, it goes back and forth. If it's ever one-sided in spring, you're not going to be very good. And it doesn't matter which side's good. If it's not competitive and if it doesn't go back and forth, you're not going to be any good. And what I see is a team that's competing hard, and you know, each side of the ball has had some good days and had some bad days.
At this point in the spring, what did you see out of Skyler and the way he's continued to develop chemistry with his receivers?
Yeah, it looks like a senior. It looks like a starting senior quarterback to me. So everything makes sense. The signals, the communication is good. His checks are outstanding. Timing with the receivers, you're starting to see improve. You know, him and Shelton had a deal last year. You know, he's developing that now with Karan, you know, with DeKeel, you know, and some of these running backs as well.
Last couple of years, the strength of this offense was lying in the running game, and you ran the ball the majority of the time. With the personnel that you have this year, do you think that you could see it possibly slide the other way where you pass the ball a bit more?
Yeah, you got to be able to do both. I mean, I think we showed in the bowl game that we can throw the ball as good as anybody. I mean, it's just the cohesiveness of the timing. We need depth at receiver. We're missing some guys that I think can potentially change the game. You know, you got good, solid starters in Shelton and DeKeel and Karan, but you need guys that can change the game. You know, and those guys will be here in August. So, you know, I'd like to be able to do what we need to do. If that's run the ball a whole bunch, then we need to be able to do that. If it's throw the ball a whole bunch, then we need to be able to do that as well. I really like where we're at O-line-wise, you know, as well. It's not just Skyler and his rapport with the receivers. I mean, the O-line has something to do with that. Our pass protection was very spotty at times last year. So Coach Wickline's really done a great job of improving that area.
Do you have 5 starters locked in, or are you still rotating guys?
Not yet. No, not yet. You know, I think Yadney, Pankey, and Tyler are pretty solid right now. But the right side, there's some competition. It has nothing to do with how Bosch or Marcel's doing. It has everything to do with how Colton McKivitz and Tony Matteo are doing. So those guys are fighting for a job right now.
What you're seeing there, is that a product of the work that you put in O-line and the development and so forth?
Yeah, I mean, we're in a pretty healthy spot, you know, and you know, a lot of people have been asking me, why'd you hire 2 O-line coaches? And I go, well, there's 20 kids there. I mean, that's hard for one guy to be able to keep track of. I mean, there's so many. I mean, the way the NFL does it, you got 2. Everybody has 2. So those guys are really working well together, and the tackles and the tight ends are getting a lot of individual attention with Coach Wickline. And then Coach Crook's strength, the reason I brought him here is what he can do with the interior O-line and get those guys playing, you know, pretty nasty in the run game and the pass game as well.
Daniel, last week, over the last week, what are the 2 or 3 things that you have to accomplish most going into the spring game? Yeah,
you know, we had our last full practice on Thursday. So we've had 10 practices where you've had a lot of drills, a lot of, you know, unit drills and all that. For the, you know, the remainder of spring will be just a whole lot of scrimmaging. I mean, it's live situations. What you see today, we'll do the same thing on Thursday. We'll do the same thing down at the Greenbrier. It'll be a full spring scrimmage. We're looking to get about 300 reps, live reps, those 3 practices. We got to have one more helmets practice on Tuesday, which will, you know, just give us a chance to really just kind of slow things down and teach a little bit. But for the remainder of spring, it's put the ball down and play ball. What you see today is what you're going to see about 3 times, including the spring game.
Dan, going back to receivers, the guys that may come in and help, who might those players?
Well, you know, Javon, we're planning on getting him back in summer. You know, we academically we got to see how he finishes, but we're planning on him coming in. Marcus Sims has made a lot of plays. Marcus is still dealing with the death in his family. You won't see him, but he's been here for the majority of the time, and he's shown where he can change the game a little bit. We know Smothers can change the game, so we got guys that can score. But the good news is we're not expecting those guys to come in and be full-time starters. We need those guys to come in and be a change of pace.
Sounds like you're thinking a little bit of the guys who are not yet. Do you reach the point when you're out there the next couple of days thinking, all right, if not him, maybe somebody we see in June or July?
I think we got our starters with 1, 2, and 6. Those are our starters.
I mean, anywhere though.
We got those guys that are going to be able to come in and change things. I think we're in the same situation at running back too. We got 7 and Eli and Shell. I mean, those guys are pretty solidified as our starting backs. You'll see 4 out there make plays today, and then we got a pretty good junior college kid coming in as well. So it's far from a finished product.
You see David Sills make plays at receiver. I mean, are you happy with his progress? Is he much better than he was when he was sort of new to the
Nah, he's still working out quarterback stuff, so he's not focusing on receiver, so he's not getting better at receiver. He'll play receiver, but unless you 100% focus on it, I mean, he's not Deion Sanders where he can just kind of get in there and just do some things. I mean, he's a young kid with a lot of eligibility left, and until he focuses on a specific thing, he's not going to get great at it. So he's focusing on quarterback, but you'll see him get in there because we got no depth at receiver right now. He needs to help us out. He's a team player, and we appreciate that.
What improvements have you seen from Michelle throughout the whole spring?
Just consistency. He got banged up and didn't practice on Thursday. That resembled the old Shell, which is what's happened with him in his career. He's going today. We'll see how he performs. He needs to be us all the time, and not just every now and then. So that's what he needs to continue to focus on.
How important to this spring and to this year's team was pulling out the bowl game last year?
I mean, it's a lot of momentum. But being able to use that time to improve the pass game. There's a lot of carryover with that. One, it's confidence, just the rapport with Skylar, the O-line, the receivers. I mean, all that's important. And then just having all those pieces of the puzzle, being able to come back and work on it all spring and continue it into the summer is going to be big.
Dayton, is there any silver lining to Josh getting that suspension knocked down in 3 games?
It just got knocked down to 3 games. So that we're happy that he's going to be a part of the team.
Is fair to say that all the stuff you're talking about for continuity on offense, first time since maybe between your first and second season?
Since Gino coming back after that first year. Had a little bit of it with Clint, with Clint. That Clint's first year, Kevin's first year, Mario's first year, Charles' first year, Wendell's first year. That was a dynamic that I hope I will never have to deal with again. There was a little continuity with those guys coming back the next year, but over the course of a couple of years, you're looking at Shelton and Skylar, and DeKeel. Those guys have been throwing for 3 years now.
Is it just that they're a little bit, or maybe a lot further along than that previous group was? As far as getting to know each other and reps together? The
first group as in?
The guys you have this year versus the Clint, Charles.
Yeah, we're ahead of that. Yeah. We're without a doubt ahead of that. The Gino, Tavon, Stedman thing was a dynamic that's, I hope to be in that situation again at some point. But those guys have been throwing together for 4 years. This is the closest thing to that.
Defensively, you haven't talked much about the defense. Are you happy?
Yeah, no. I mean, they're yeah. I mean, geez. I mean, I got my hands in that a little bit.
No,
I gotta make sure they're doing good. I mean, the coaching staff. I can't tell you how happy I am with that. I mean, just the way Gibby's running it, and the rapport that he's got with his assistants is really good. Those guys are going to be. I think they're going to be as good as they were last year before it's all said and done. There are a lot of older guys that have playing experience, so we're not replacing a lot of these guys that graduated with new guys. So, I think they're in pretty good shape. A lot of 4-year, 5-year guys, players that know the system. Going into the 3rd year, it should be better.
Is that the point now in the spring where the spring game can't come soon enough?
No, we're good. There's a whole bunch of spring games on TV. I'm going to sit down and watch Missouri's tonight. I mean, that's our first opponent, but we wanted it late for a reason. I mean, the Greenbrier is going to be spectacular. I mean, that's just going to be great for West Virginia University in general. So we're really excited about getting down there, but we got a lot of work to do. Like I said, 3 scrimmages ahead of us, and there's a lot of ball to be played, and we expect to get a lot better.